Which is better, Genshin or Wuthering Waves? Well, obviously, don't even ask. It's definitely Wuthering Waves. I made this video for those of you who used to play Genshin, but eventually quit and switched to Wuthering Waves. When Wuwa first came out, it had a really strong end-of-service vibe. But in patch 2.0, you can really see the true quality of Wuthering Waves. So why did so many people end up switching from Genshin to Wuthering Waves, YouTubers, streamers, and myself included?
I don't like this game.
Well, I was a former Genshin player, but in the end, I chose to leave it behind. There are a lot of reasons for that. Reasons you can probably relate to if you're also a former Genshin player. First, the Genshin developer is deaf. Yeah, this isn't even a secret anymore. Everyone knows the Genshin dev is deaf. Players have been begging for artifact presets for years, and until now it still doesn't exist. Second, the combat mechanics are just super boring and repetitive. For those who haven't touched Wuwa, or back when Wuwa wasn't released yet, Genshin's combat was honestly pretty fun in my opinion. But after trying Wuwa and experiencing its combat, the difference is instantly huge, man. In Genshin, it's basically just skill, ulti, switch character, skill, ulti, switch character, DPS, boom, boom, boom. Meanwhile, in Wuwa, you actually have to fill Concerto, charge up Forte, use intro skill, outro skill, and so on. The mechanics just feel way deeper, and the gameplay is much more fun in Wuwa compared to Genshin. And then there's the skip story feature. Okay, fine if Genshin doesn't want to add skip story for the main quest, but at least give it for the side missions or the daily missions. It would make things so much easier for people who only want to follow the main storyline, not the side quests. This game has been out for 5 years, bro, and it's still like this? How can adding a simple QOL feature be so damn hard? Where the hell is all that billion-dollar revenue going? Ah, whatever. Anyway, those are some of the things that made me quit and finally move on to Wuthering Waves. Of course, that's not everything. There are still a lot more reasons, but those are the main points. So in this video, I'm going to tell you guys some of the mistakes players make when moving from Genshin to Wuthering Waves. First of all, when Wuwa first came out, I honestly thought it was just a copy of Genshin. My first impression was, yeah, this is literally a Genshin Impact ripoff, because both are open-world, anime-themed, and have gacha systems. But after actually playing Wuwa for quite a while, my perspective completely changed. I started questioning myself, like, copycat from where exactly? The more I played, the more I realized it's completely different. Secondly, let's talk about the combat system. When I first started playing Wuwa, honestly, I immediately compared it to Genshin. I thought Wuwa also had elemental reactions. Turns out it doesn't. Then I thought maybe Wuwa was just trying to sell itself on parry and perfect dodge. But again, that's not the case. There's so much more. Fort, Concerto, intro, outro, and other mechanics that completely change the flow of battle. This is an important aspect you really need to understand, because the combat systems of these two games are on completely different levels. In Wuwa, every character has their own distinct combat pattern. Skills, basic attacks, heavy attacks, none of them feel the same so far. But in Genshin, for example, if you pick a sword character, their basic attack, charge attack, even some of their skills, there's always a sense of repetition. It feels recycled, and honestly, it gets boring pretty fast. Meanwhile, in Wuwa, it's the total opposite. Every character is unique. Take a spear user, for example. Their basic attack, their skills, their movements, everything is designed differently, and you can feel that variety. This makes it clear that you can't really compare Genshin and Wuwa in terms of combat. Once again, the difference is like heaven and earth. In Genshin, combat is basically just element mixing. To put it simply, it's just color matching. Look at Skirk's ultimate and Inefa's ultimate. The patterns are nearly identical, and this is in a game that's already been out for 5 years. 5 years. Yet the core combat system is still the same. Skill, ultimate, switch characters, repeat. Boom, 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 slash, slash, slash. At the end of the day, it just feels boring to watch that kind of gameplay over and over again. Third, exploration. Exploration in Wuwa is way easier than in Genshin. Again, the difference is like heaven and earth, I'd say. So if you're moving from Genshin to Wuwa, don't compare exploration in Genshin with Wuthering Waves. Exploration in Genshin is really exhausting or difficult. Yeah, if you really don't like the game, you'll immediately feel sick when exploring in Genshin, for now. Fourth, farming echoes is compared to farming artifacts. Well, at first, when I played Wuwa, I also thought like that. I thought farming echoes in Wuwa was just as difficult as farming artifacts in Genshin. But after I played Wuthering Waves for quite a while, I finally realized that in Wuthering Waves it's much easier. Not super easy, but yeah, easier. Fifth, a 3-character party feels lacking because in Genshin there are 4. For those who previously played Genshin and moved to Wuwa, you must have felt this at least once, because at the beginning you'd think, why is the party only 3 people? This feels lacking. But keep in mind, a 3-character party in Wuwa is already more than enough in my opinion, after I played Wuwa for quite a while. And this party system is really cheap in Wuwa and doesn't drain your wallet. Meanwhile, in Genshin, you need 4. And damn, not only that, but the weapon banner also has 50-50. No wonder their revenue is so high. So you really need to get used to the fact that one party with 3 characters is already more than enough. Sixth, I thought the 4-star characters were actually 5-star characters. Honestly, in my opinion, in Wuwa, the 4-star characters don't feel like 4 stars, because they all have ultimate animations. So at first I thought Wuwa didn't even have 4-star characters since everyone has an ulti animation. In Genshin, 4-star characters don't have ulti animations, and even the MC, who is a 5-star in Genshin, doesn't have an ulti animation either. Why do you think that is? Seventh, comparing Archons to Sentinels. This is actually more about the lore, right? At first, I thought Sentinels were the same as Archons, but after diving deeper into Wuthering Waves lore, I realized that Sentinels can't really be compared to the Archons in Genshin Impact. So yeah, it's actually normal for Genshin players who move to Wuwa to think that way at first. Eighth, stamina for running. This one too. I compared it at first, man. I thought running in Wuthering Waves also required stamina, but in Wuwa, stamina only goes down if you're running on walls, when there are enemies around, or when you dash or dodge. And if it's just for running, you don't need stamina in Wuthering Waves at all. But then again, why even bother running, when you can just fly in Wuthering Waves? And lastly, the story in Wuwa. Honestly, at first, the story in Wuwa felt bad, and I didn't even know what the actual purpose was. I admit it, the story in Wuwa 1.0 was not that interesting, or you could even say it was really bad. But after 2.0, wow, absolute cinema. All the boss stories in Wuthering Waves are on another level. Genshin doesn't even compare, so that's it. Those are some of the mistakes made by players moving from Genshin to Wuthering Waves, and I'm pretty sure at least one of these has happened to you. And yeah, this also includes some of the reasons why so many players have ended up leaving Genshin for Wuthering Waves. Because, come on bro, Genshin's developer is just not healthy anymore. This game has been out for 5 years, but QL? No changes. The mechanics? Still the same. Player complaints? Not being listened to. 5 years, and what have they focused on? Selling characters, selling weapons, releasing new maps, events, and the rest is just left abandoned. I'm honestly so sick of playing Genshin Impact. So for those of you still playing Genshin Impact, I honestly just feel sorry for you, especially those who have already spent a lot. Come on, bro, wake up. Genshin is something that, well, in my opinion, it just has to be left behind. Look around you, there's Wuthering Waves, and its quality is far, far better than Genshin Impact. From the combat mechanics, the story, the movement, the animations, the QOL, and remember, this is still a game that's only 1 year old. So what are you waiting for? Quit Genshin Impact now and go install Wuthering Waves.